Welcome back, everyone. We are here for episode 2 of Dear Theonie today. And before we begin, we are going to go through some disclaimers and warnings. This series is intended for entertainment purposes only, and I am in no way any kind of mental health professional. Trigger warning: this series may depict various stressors in people's lives and can affect everyone differently. Viewer discretion is advised. The following commentary is my opinion only and not intended to replace professional help or advice. Consult licensed professionals in any areas needed. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Theonie with Thriftydivas, and we are finally here with episode 2 of Dear Theonie. I am so sorry it took so long, and I want everybody to know I did not forget about you. It has just taken me way too long to be able to, again, like I said, be in the right space to be able to do this. And I have some time to myself right now, which is awesome. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna go way back and start looking for the tons of emails that are awaiting me. So let's begin. Okay, I scrolled down to the first one, which was a very long time ago. I'm sorry, I feel terrible. All right, so now I did notice that I got 2 from this person. So I'm going to connect both before I answer, because you're not giving me half info. All right, so here's the first one. Dear Theonie, to start with, thank you for this, and sorry in advance for my spelling mistakes and punctuation errors. No problem. Okay, my thing is, I moved back to my home state of blank in February because my mother begged me to. She wanted to be with her grandkids. I have a 4-year-old daughter and just had a baby in July, another girl. However, since I moved back here, all me and my mom do is fight, and I mean badly fight. She tells me we can get out, that I'm a bad mom at times, or plain lazy. Even though I'm the one who cooks and cleans, she never wants to help me if I'm begging her to. Even if I'm begging her to. She won't even drop the kids off at the sitters for me, even when I offer to pay her. It's only 3 minutes down the road. When I work 5 a.m. in the morning, I'm always depressed and hating myself and life anymore. I want to move back to blank where I have friends and so many people in my support group. My mom makes me feel bad about it and makes me feel like the worst person. She tells me things like I'm going to be trailer trash, I'm a bad mom, and so much more. I don't know what to do. I know moving back is going to be hard, especially not making a lot and having no savings. I'm just confused. What should I do? Does this make me a bad mom and daughter? Thank you. Now, I have my thoughts on this, but what I'm going to do is go to the second one and see how this ties in. I don't know if she thought I wasn't going to notice that there was 2, but I noticed. Okay. So this second one says, Dear Theonie, this is going to be very short. Sorry about that. Just need a little input. I'm a 31-year-old single mother of 2 girls, a 4-year-old and a little under a year old. I really want to go back to school for either paralegal, something in law, or teaching. Both I have always loved since I was young. However, I feel like, 1, I'm too old to go back. Plus, I have no support about it. My mom and sister both say I shouldn't, that I should just get a job, which I have, and not worry about school. But I want to do more than just be a waitress, which there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I don't know what to do. The only person who has my back is my best friend, who is 1,000 miles away. Feels like if I do go back to school, it would have to be a huge secret from everyone. What do you think? Confused wannabe student. Okay, so we're not taking away from the first email at all. We're actually adding to it. So in this situation, we have somebody who moved 1,000 miles away to be next to her mother because her mother said she wanted to be with her grandkids. However, she and her mother fight all the time. Her mother sounds like she's kind of a negative influence and basically telling her she doesn't do enough and she's lazy and blah, blah, blah. Doesn't help her, it sounds like. Again, I'm only going based off of the little information I have in these emails, nothing more. I don't know anything else other than this. And so then we have the question of, what should I do? Should I move back, right? Let's go back and look at what those exact questions were in the first one, okay? Because the second one is easy to remember because that focuses mostly on school. But the first one says, I'm always depressed and hating myself in life. I want to move back where I have friends and so many people in my support group. My mom makes me feel bad about it. So, okay. First of all, the part where you say that your mom says that you're going to be a bad mom if you move back, my personal opinion, I don't agree with that, because if you have two little girls in a situation where there's constant fighting and your mom name calling you and not being so great as it sounds in these emails, your little girls are going to learn that behavior. They are going to also learn from your mother how to treat you and what is acceptable. So your mother saying you'd be a bad mom if you left to go back to where you came from, I think is the complete opposite. And now you also have said in the two different emails now your best friend supports you and is 1,000 miles away. And you mentioned in this one, you have so many people in your support group there. Okay. Now, tying that into the second email of going back to school, it's never, ever, ever too late, ever, okay? My mom got her PhD at 60 because that was her goal. She had talked about it her whole life. And then she started that eventually too. Am I too old? Blah, blah, blah. I'll be 60 by the time I'm done. My answer to her was, you will be 60 anyway. Do you want to be a doctor when you do it or not? And that was, and then guess what? Well, she became a doctor at 60. She was going to become 60 anyway, but this time she did it as a doctor. You are never, ever, 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 ever too old, ever. You have one life to live. You mentioned in here that you're always depressed and hating yourself, and this sounds really terrible. Again, only from these emails. She doesn't want to help you. She doesn't want to drop the kid off at the babysitter, so she's not doing the babysitting, but she won't even drop the children off at the babysitter, which is 3 minutes down the road, even when you offer to pay her, which I don't think, personally, that you should have to pay the grandmother of your children to drive them 3 minutes down the road. I'm just, these, again, just my opinions, and all I know is this, is from the writings on this page. So it also sounds like if you were to move back, you would have way more support than you do there. You would have a lot less fighting. You would probably find your joy again, is what it sounds like. And you would probably find a way to go to school, and it wouldn't have to be a secret from anybody, because it sounds like, from what you said, that's where your support would be anyway. So I don't know. To me, and is it going to be hard to go 1,000 miles back? Absolutely. Did you do it already? Yeah, you did it in the other direction. So you can go back. It's not going to be easy, but it doesn't mean it won't be worth it. So this is just my opinion. Again, I know very, very little These are just my initial feelings from what's on the page, but I believe everybody should be happy. I believe nobody should be belittled or yelled at or told they're a bad mother or they'll be trailer trash or anything to that effect, especially from the people who are supposed to love you unconditionally. You said your mother begged you to because she wanted to be with her grandkids, but then at the same time, she won't take them to the sitter. You know what I'm saying? And then calls you lazy and like, I mean, why? Why? I would make a list of pros and cons. Never let fear make your decisions for you, okay? That's the one thing I tell everybody in life. Don't ever base your decisions based on fear, ever. Because sometimes, usually, the scariest things are the best for you. And growth happens right outside your comfort zone. That's where it's going to happen. So, I'm sorry I feel like I can't help more, because in this one I feel like I can't, because this is a very complex situation that I don't know enough about. But if you at all have the means whatsoever to go back, I think it sounds good. I think it sounds good for you, your future, your daughters growing up to see their mother, went to school as a single mom on her own. That's how I grew up too. I watched my mom do that up until 60, but degree after degree after degree. But I watched my mom do that my whole life. And that is, for me personally, what always allowed me to know that it's possible. No matter how hard it is, it doesn't matter. It's still possible. Is it harder for some people than others? Yeah, but it's still possible. So I went to law school older. I was pregnant. I got pregnant in law school. I had an infant in law school. I took the bar with a 1.5-year-old running around. I studied 14 hours a day with a 1.5-year-old, but I had a lot of support. Thank goodness. My stepfather took off a month leave of absence from work to help babysit just for my studying and all this stuff. But I went to law school with the majority of people who were 23 years old, living at home, no bills, no mortgage, that's for sure. Their parents cooked dinner for them. And then of course there was everybody in between, and some people had it worse than I did as well. We all did it. Different journeys, but we all did it. And at the end, we passed the bar, some on the first, some not, but we all passed eventually. We all got admitted. We all got approved by the character and fitness committee. We all did it. So the end of the road was all the same. The journey was different. So I personally think that would be an amazing observance for your daughters, and to be out of a negative situation where you're also not being put down and called names and made to feel worthless. And what were your exact words? Depressed and hating yourself and life. That should tell you something needs to change, in my opinion. Okay? So that is what I'm going with on that one. And we are going to move on to the next one. Okay, this next one involves me putting on slightly a bit of my lawyer hat. So I'm going to quote a lot of lawyers and say, I am a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. So this is not legal advice. And I suggest you consult with an attorney. Okay, so this one says, Dear Theonie, I was married for 11 years and divorced because I was an active alcoholic. I don't know if that's supposed to be I or he. And divorced because I was an active alcoholic. That might be supposed to be he, but I don't know. And he cheated on me. We have been back together for 8 years and he has yet to divorce his ex. So I'm assuming you got divorced and he got remarried, is what that sounds like, right? I have given him $1,000 to pay for the divorce about a year ago. And before that, he told me he couldn't find a lawyer that she had not talked to. She couldn't have possibly talked to every single one of them. Okay, so we live in Virginia, and so I'm wondering, A, is he being honest with me when he says he can't use an attorney she has spoken to? B, am I just being blind and stupid for staying with him? Just curious as to what you think I should do. Sincerely, unsure. Okay. Okay. My thoughts may offend people. However, my personal opinion is once a cheater, always a cheater. I know a lot of people disagree with me. And I know that there are people who cheat once or twice or whatever, and then, I don't know, have a come to God moment and never cheat again. Sure. Okay. Is it possible? Yeah. Do I believe it? No. Here's my thing. This is just my thing. Just me, okay? I personally, and I know of situations where this doesn't apply, but still, it's my opinion. For me, I feel like when somebody has the ability to cheat, that ability is instilled within them, and that is who they're made up of. Does that make any sense? That is their makeup as a human. They have the ability to cheat. They have the strength of their moral fiber has been compromised. They were able to do it again. They were able to do it, right? Which means they have the absolute ability to comfortably do it again. That's just me. Secondary to that, I also feel like in relationships, again, for me, everybody's different. And again, I know personal situations where this doesn't apply, but this is just for me. I know of many people who stayed with people who cheated on them. Okay, wonderful. And we're talking decades more. Great. Cool for you. For me, I would never be able to stay. And I've said this since even before I ever dated anyone, because I just knew who I am. I would never be able to stay in a relationship with somebody who cheated on me because I know myself. So this has to do with myself. I would never fully be able to trust them again. A relationship is based on trust and open communication. Cheating breaks trust. It crumbles it up into a little ball. You can smooth it out all you want afterwards. It'll never be the same. So cheating breaks trust, and it is hidden. It is, it's secretive. So it's closed off communication, and it's mistrust, right? So for me, I could never do it. I would be nuts all the time, wondering, no, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that chaos or non-peace in my life. So only you can answer that. Now, when it comes to the man is gonna get a divorce, right? That's a huge topic of contention. They need to put in some action for that to be believable and for that to be okay. Now, a question I have for you, which is not in here. Now, it says that you've been back with him for 8 years. So that's a long time, right? I would be curious to know the situation in which he left his wife. Or when did you start re-talking to him romantically? Was he still actively married to his wife and cohabitating nicely and she was none the wiser? I would really like to know that. Because then that shows a pattern, right? This is an uncomfortable question for you, but just ask yourself, because I feel like it's very important in the equation. Did he cheat on his ex-wife or wife still with you? I'd be curious to know. I think it's important. So again, a lot of these questions only you can answer. But in terms of the divorce thing, am I stupid for believing it? You have to see some action. That is a long time, 8 years. So, I mean, if you've been with him for 8 years more and he still hasn't divorced her, at least like he's probably not in a relationship with her, I would think, or she knows he's living with another person or something. Again, many missing details here. But let me easily answer your first question. A, is he being honest with me when he says he can't use an attorney she has spoken to? Yes. Even if she went to an attorney for a consultation, her name will go into a conflict of interest list. When he goes to speak to an attorney and tells them who his wife is, who the respondent would be in his divorce proceedings, when they check their conflict of interest systems and see her name pop up, they cannot represent him. That is true. So that part is true. But I mean, has she spoken to every single matrimonial attorney in the state of Virginia? I find that hard to believe. I'm just saying. So that's me. So you broke your questions down into A and B, and I hope I answered both of them for you. So let's move on to the next one. Okay. Here is the next one. Dear Theonie, I loved your first installment of Dear Theonie. I knew in my heart you would be good at it. Okay, here goes. My health declined in the past 3 years and totally turned my life upside down. I am a Sagittarius and had a job. Had a job I loved. Married my high school crush, childhood best friend. Bought my own house in a small town, which I loved. Traveled, hung out with friends, was promoted at my job. Everything was great. However, I have a tendency to go above and beyond for people both at my job and my family. My parents have emotionally controlled and manipulated my life since I was 3. That's the reason I moved out and had my first failed marriage at 22. Just could not handle the empty nest, and neither one ever liked my boyfriends or husbands. Normally, I could ignore their comments, but I have never successfully been able to keep a distance because they rely on me for emotional stability, and I feel extreme guilt from both of them if I don't visit or talk to them. Well, that is because you already said your parents have emotionally controlled and manipulated your life since you were 3. And they're continuing to do so by making you feel guilty. So, this destroyed my first marriage, and I was determined not to let it destroy my second marriage to the love of my life. However, my husband is the complete opposite personality of me, and when I became sicker and sicker, our marriage started dwindling with it because the roles reversed, and neither of us were ready for that. A week before Christmas, we were not in good places mentally, and I couldn't even drive at this point, lost my job, and called my brother to pick me up. I just wanted to blow off steam and think. My brother took me to my parents' house. My parents took this opportunity to tell me how they really feel and to prove that with my declining health, they could take better care of me physically. Needless to say, they were pissed at my husband and wouldn't let him come to the house. And with me having no car, I could not go see him. He ended up filing for divorce a week after I left. It has been 2 years and I am still with my parents. I can barely walk with my condition. I have gained 200 pounds. They treat me like a child. My husband and I have stayed in contact all this time in secret. Every day my mother says horrible things about him and just can't move on. My father says it would kill him if I went back to him, but he's the only person keeping me sane and giving me hope during this time. I am totally out of my element with no goals, no ambitions. Can't see the silver lining. Just curious of what you think. I don't really have a question per se because I can't even begin to see how to get myself to move forward. I get up every day and do the same routine, but at least I get out of bed and try. I'm thankful because my mother does help me with the physical hurdles, but mentally I just feel like I should be on my own, and I beat myself up every day for letting this happen to me and my husband. Broken Sagittarius. Okay. Again, so much I don't know. Does your husband want to get back together? Do you want to get back together with your husband? Would that be a possibility? Could you move back in with him? I know that would, from what it sounds like, vastly injure your relationship with your parents. Your father says it would kill him. It won't. It won't. Because I feel, and also, would your husband be willing or able to take care of you with anything that you need? I also feel like you feel depressed and you feel trapped and you have nowhere to go if you're not working and all that. And that's why you've gained 200 pounds, which is probably, I don't know exactly what the declining health condition is, but you said something like you could barely walk, right? I feel like that's what you said. I feel like you said that somewhere. Well, I'm assuming the 200-pound weight gain is not good for your health condition. And I feel like if you lost the weight or lost some weight, maybe weight loss surgery would be an option for, I'm just saying, because then at least I feel like you might require less physical help, which might also make you feel freer to leave and change the situation. I agree in your last line. I just feel like I should be on my own, and I beat myself up every day. Don't beat yourself up. That had nothing to do with you, I feel like, right? Because you said your marriage was great, everything was great, and then you became sicker and the roles reversed. And so basically it sounds like your husband had to start taking care of you, and he, instead of you taking care of everybody else, and he wasn't ready for that. You can't help that you got sick. That's one. Two, you can't help if he wasn't able or ready to do that. That's actually heartbreaking. If you say this was your childhood best friend and your crush and the love of your life, that's heartbreaking. And then a week later he filed for divorce? A week? I don't know him. I don't know your relationship. I don't know the history. I don't know the dynamic, but I don't like that. I don't like that. When you get married to somebody, it's for better or worse, through sickness and in health. A week later? Like, this upsets me. But it sounds to me, again, just like the first situation, as hard as it would be, I feel like at some point you absolutely do need to get out. You need get out, be on your own, like you said. Trust your gut. You know it. You know it. I think this email was looking for validation of what you already know, and I think you're right. I think your gut is absolutely right, which most of the time people's gut is completely right, and they're just too nervous to trust it. But I think you're right, and you cannot make decisions for yourself based on fear of what other people will think, say, or do. Again, like I keep saying the same things, but I feel like all of our issues in life are related to much of the same stuff. That's why the answers often kind of run into each other. So, see what options you have for your own health or possible weight loss to just improve your physicality. And I think that would make you feel better about yourself in general, because like I said, you'd rely less, and it would make you feel more free. Just my opinion. And I don't know what the situation is like with your husband currently, but you did say he's the only one that keeps you sane. But again, I don't know if that romantic situation is still there, if the romantic feelings are still there, if he's dating somebody new or whatever. But however you can, I would work on getting out. Like I say to most people, life is short. Life is very short. You only get one. Live it for yourself. Make yourself happy. Everybody else has their own to live, and they will be just fine. And putting the guilt on you is not okay. So that's what I'm going to say about this one. This was a very complex and serious one as well. And there's many of those. I'm getting many of those. And it breaks my heart. Next. This is a very short one, and I love it. Okay. I don't love it because it's short. I just love it. And it makes me laugh. Ready? Dear Theonie, I'm in my early 30s and still a closeted gay man. Am I crazy for not coming out to my friends and family for fear of rejection? My circle is small already. I don't want it to get smaller. I feel like I'm overweight and not going to have a boyfriend anytime soon, so it doesn't matter. But hiding who I really am is getting harder and harder. Look at that. You already know the answer. Thank you and lots of love to you. Signed, Old Closet Case. I'm in my early 30s, starts the email. Signed, Old Closet Case. You stop right now. You're a baby. Okay, so let's break it down. You are not crazy for not coming out to your friends and family for fear of rejection. That's completely understandable. And you, amongst hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, experience that. So no, your circle is small and you really don't want it to get smaller. We're going to revisit that because I feel like that is the most involved part of it. I feel like I'm overweight and not going to have a boyfriend anytime soon, so it doesn't matter. That's a lie. The only reason you won't have a boyfriend is because you're not actively looking, because you're not actively gay. If that makes any sense. You're not living your true self. If you were out there amongst your own community with other gay men, you would probably be dating. I hate to break it to you, but it's true. Because you're overweight has nothing to do with it. Okay? Not at all. Because there's tons of overweight people who date. There's tons of people who like overweight people. There's tons of people who want to snuggle up next to somebody overweight because they're warm and comfortable and they feel safe next to them and cozy. So that's nonsense. I personally feel that's something you've tried to convince yourself of to make yourself more comfortable in this situation and justify it for yourself, but it's a lie. You're lying to yourself, and I'll be the one to tell you. So there. Okay, next. The golden ticket of this email was that portion where you said, hiding who I really am is getting harder and harder. I will tell you, you have the right, you deserve to live your life as your true self. You should not have to not be your true self around anyone. It is your life. You are who you are. Now, your circle is small and you don't want it to get smaller. This is what I'm really going to try to attack. 1, do you want to surround yourself with people who may not be accepting of who you truly are? Because I think if you soul search, that answer will be no. There's also a huge difference between acceptance and tolerance. So even when you decide to come out to these people, which I think you should, but again, my opinion, there's a huge difference between acceptance and tolerance. There are people who will tolerate you even though they don't agree with your lifestyle or who you are and who you were born as. And that is very different than acceptance. Fully accepting you for you and what you have no choice of. There was an episode of a TV show the other night, actually, that I just saw. And this guy, and it was like true. It was like real people. This guy wanted to tell one of his friends that he was gay, and she was he knew it was going to be a problem. Let's just put it that way. So they had they just could not see eye to eye. And she was basically, she would not believe anyone who told her, including her friend himself, that being gay was not a choice. Yeah, like she literally thought it was a choice. He explained to her out of his own mouth, it is not a choice. If I had a choice to wake up tomorrow morning as a straight man, I would do so because my life would be much easier. It is not a choice. And even after he told her that, she still didn't believe him. Okay, but she was willing to tolerate him. And then they decided to go their separate ways because it just wasn't going to work. Okay, you have a right to be around people who fully accept you for all that is you. And I think you will find it extremely freeing because you already said it is getting harder and harder. The people who will not like what you are or what you have to tell them right now are not the ones for you. They're not your people. And that's okay. It will suck and you might lose some, but the ones who stick around and are fully accepting, those are your people. And those are the ones you are supposed to be around. So I think it doesn't matter about the numbers of the people in your circle. It's the quality of your circle. That's what you need. So I know that for gay people, this is one of the hardest things ever in life, is having to come out to friends and family and fear of those repercussions of how people will react, or people that you've loved and you thought loved you, once they find out who your true self is, they no longer do so. I want to cry just saying that. Whew, why am I crying? But that would be pretty awful. But those are things that you need to know, right? You need to know that to surround yourself with your people. So, old closet case in your early 30s, I would love to see you be your true self and get out there and find you a man who wants a fluffy partner. And that's just me. That's my opinion. And why am I crying? Gosh. All right. I have 2 more. And I think I'm going to go regroup for a second and I will be right back. Okay. I'm back. This is the second to last one. Okay. All right. Okay. Dear Theonie, I am so looking forward to hearing what you have to say about my situation. Here it goes. I befriended someone who lives in my building around the time I gave birth to my son. Let's call her Denise. The driving force behind us becoming friends was that we were both moms of small children. As a new mom, it's very important to be surrounded by people who get you and can be a good support system, which she was. However, I quickly realized that other than the children, we really don't have anything in common. In fact, I don't think I would be friends with her at all, in caps, if I weren't a mother. That said, I started to become overwhelmed by her friendship. I don't know if you can relate, but you know when someone becomes too needy and the relationship just drains you of your energy? Yes, I can relate. It's like that. If I don't respond to her texts in a timely manner, she sends follow-up texts. I hate it, in all caps. No, hell no. She will say, hey, texted you last night, but you didn't text back, so just wanted to say hi and text me when you're free. How's she with men? Anyway, okay. And then Theonie, I want to punch her. I'm starting to feel anxious and even brought it up to my therapist today. I don't like feeling obligated to text back or to hang out. No, hell no. No, me neither. No, and you shouldn't. She also has a bad habit of talking about money. The relationship is superficial. The conversations are empty, and most times I sit there cringing, listening to her show off. Without going into great detail, she's one of those people who absolutely has to mention what she buys, how much she spends, what her parents have, where they live, how much they spend on stuff, and it's quite annoying. I would have to be like, and what do you have? Good for your parents. Anyway, okay, I digress. Now, we live in a mixed income building near the projects, a vast difference from the type of life both of her parents live. I believe all of this stems from deeply rooted insecurities and not having as much as she sees her parents have. I get it, but at the same time, I'm tired of hearing about it. Understandable. She lives with her husband and 2 sons. She doesn't work and doesn't have any friends. I really think I am her only friend, which is why I've been very hesitant to say anything. I don't want to hurt her, but I also don't want to keep dealing with her bullshit. I'm very down to earth. I'm born and raised in Queens, and I think I'm a cool ass chick. Her and I have absolutely nothing in common. It's like she has something to prove, and I don't understand why. The other day, while talking about our childhoods, she mentioned that she used to play hopscotch, and she's not sure if I ever played. No, we don't play hopscotch in Queens. We have no black top to draw on. I'm sorry. Okay. Going back. I keep digressing. Oh my goodness. Okay. The other day while talking about our childhood, she mentioned that she used to play hopscotch and she's not sure if I ever played it because she grew up in the suburbs and maybe it was different for her. My blood started to boil and I immediately said, I forgot this was in here. She, all caps, she says, I immediately said, we too had chalk in Queens as well as sidewalks. And I actually had a lit as AF childhood. Thank you. That's a small example of the dumb stuff she says. In addition to that, she's very inquisitive about my personal life, yet not very forthcoming about hers. Granted, I'm not saying I want her to only tell me bad things, but I know her situation and she's in total denial about it. I don't mind telling my stuff as I've always been an open book, but I don't appreciate the fact that she just can't keep it real. She thinks she's better than everyone and talks like a valley girl, which is also annoying the F out of me. Simply put, we do not mesh. I don't know what to do. If I ignore her, she keeps following up. She doesn't understand that sometimes I'm just not in the effing mood. I've even expressed this to her, and yet it clearly did not register in her brain. Any advice or comments greatly appreciated. Love you. XOXOXO. I hate these situations where you have to cut a friend off. I hate them. They're annoying. Your biggest thing, normally it wouldn't be that big of a deal, right? Block them, move on. They'll get they'll get it. But you guys live in the same building. So that's the only thing that's a pain in the ass. Now, question, is she mentally stable? Because I'm going to say, you just got to think. Keeping it real here. If you completely cut her off and she knows where you live, are you in any type of danger of her, I don't know, anything? So just think of that, please. Or does she know what kind of car you drive? If you have a car, is she gonna do something to it or attach something to it underneath? You know what I'm saying? That when you turn it on, I don't know. Only you know. But listen, again, you answered all your questions. You've spoken to your therapist about it. So I wonder what your therapist had to say. You never put that in there. And again, this was a while ago. So I'm wondering if there's been any follow-ups since then. This is why I know it took me too long. Everybody's situation could have totally changed. The last email, the guy could have come out already and everything is great and he's engaged. Well, it wasn't that long, but I'm just saying everything could have changed. So I got to try to do this faster. I do. I need to get better, especially at these. I suck at all my other videos time-wise, but these, I need to do faster. So I don't know if anything's changed yet, but I mean, you know, you don't mesh. You get annoyed as shit out of her all the time. She's like, again, like talking down to you, acting like she's mightier than thou, showing off, being like, oh, I don't know if you had, you know, chalk and Queens and, you know, or concrete, you know, like, so, and you said you don't even think she has any other friends. I wonder why. She sounds like a lovely woman. And you guys have nothing in common. You said you wouldn't even talk to her, like, if you didn't have kids. Like, me, this is just what I would do. If she was safe and I didn't have to worry about me or my family or my son's safety, I would completely just cut her off. That's what I would do. She's got to get the hint eventually, and then it's going to be real awkward if you guys ever see each other in the hall or walking out of the building or walking into the building or in the laundry room or something if you got laundry downstairs. That, you know, you got to be ready for that. But no, cut it off. You don't need that. It sounds like she needs your friendship way more than you need hers. You don't even want hers. So as long as you're safe, no. I've been there. I didn't live in the same building as them, though. Lucky me. So I just cut them off. But I've been here several times. Not worth it. That's just my opinion. Okay. Moving on to the very last one, guys. I don't even know how long this video is, but it is what it is. All right, last one. Moving on. Okay. Here it is. Okay. Now, this one is very serious too, and it concerns me. So, again, I put all my disclaimers in the beginning of the video, but so this says, Dear Theonie, I am writing to you for advice on how to find meaning, passion, or joy in anyone's life. I am a single 51-year-old female. I have a full-time job working from home due to COVID and love that benefit. And I have a part-time job that is outside of my home. I have one adult daughter who's finally coming into her own and will be moving out and living her life as a young adult. My mother has dementia and I am her power of attorney and the person everyone calls for care. The problem? I hate my life. Everything, my jobs, my family, friends, they don't bring me joy, etc. How do you find that? How do I find some type of meaning in my life? I feel like I'm wasting my time. Thanks. I don't know what you mean by you feel like you're wasting your time, but please, it would be irresponsible of me to not tell you that if you need professional help or anything like that, please go seek it, because all I care about is that you are safe. Okay. So it sounds to me, I am concerned that what it sounds like to me, you might, again, I don't know you. I have a 3-line email here, right? So like, are you suffering from depression, or do you have a history of depression? This sounds depression-like, right? Not finding the joy in anything anymore, right? What's it all for? There are periods of depression. There are seasonal depression, and it's like now is seasonal depression, lack of vitamin D, because we don't get the sun that much. We are in the midst of a world crisis, right? I'm not going to say the word because YouTube hates that word, but everything has changed, right? It sounds like you're taking care of, taking care of your mom. That is going to be a lot. And you're working 2 jobs. You have a full-time job and a part-time job? Yeah, that's a lot. And okay, you hate your job. You say, I hate my life, everything, my jobs. That's fine. That sucks, but that's a lot of people hate their jobs. We usually do them because we have to, that whole saying, do something you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Not that many people are lucky enough to be able to do that. My friends and family, you hate your friends? Well, your friends or your family don't bring you joy. Okay, so in terms of your mother's a huge responsibility right now, and you might have some hidden resentment toward that, especially with so much on your plate, but that's okay. And that doesn't make you a bad person. because it sounds like you got a lot going on. And that is also something that I can relate to. How do you make a list? How do you find some meaning? This is going to rub some people the wrong way too. But I know for myself, every time I've suffered with depression or hit my wit's end at times or didn't have any joy or see the meaning in anything, I would actually oftentimes have to remind myself that nothing is forever and no one gets out alive. I know that might sound really twisted, but that was always my personal own way of reminding myself that, life is temporary and it'll all be over someday anyway, right? So make the best of it while you can. That's the way that again, that's just my thing. And many of you listening to this might be like, what is wrong with you? Or some of you might be listening to it and be like, yeah, I get it. Again, that's why this is all my opinion. So fine, just make a list. I remember years ago, somebody made me sit down and write a list of things that I enjoyed doing. Do you know that was the hardest list I ever had to make in my life? Because I was so out of touch with what I enjoyed doing, what my pastimes, what I would like to have my pastimes be, or what brought me joy. But I do find that for everyone, because we're like animals, and made primarily of water and things like that, being out in nature is amazing for us. It does us really, really well. Nature, silence, no technology, taking walks, getting your blood flowing, getting enough sleep, making sure all of those things, eating proper foods, getting vitamins, all of those things will make you feel better in general, and then also make you be in touch with yourself to be able to see what you need or what would make you happy. But it sounds to me, again, just from this 3-line email, that you're not getting much of you time, right? So if you don't know what you enjoy doing, try to figure that out. And it might be hard, and that's okay too. I'm going to tell you that that's okay if it's hard. It's all right. But you'll figure it out. Do you like coloring? Do you like movies? Do you like cooking or baking or window shopping? Or, we can't really travel right now. Just anything, taking soaking in a bubble bath, or just anything, playing with your makeup, getting your nails done, going for a pedicure, things that make you feel good. Because it sounds like you're being tapped out in all directions. But again, life is temporary and life is short. So, and you're 51 and your mother has dementia, and you're her POA, and the person, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but that will not last forever either. Okay. Your daughter moving out and living her life as a young adult, her life might bring you joy later on as well. Might give you some grandbabies. That'll be a whole nother layer to your life. You never know. But just, again, I want to stress so much, though, because, it would be irresponsible of me not to. If you think there might be something more going on, please go talk to somebody. Please go see a professional. See what's going on. See if you might need a medication or, something. Please. I have to say that because I don't know the depths of this, again, just from a 3-line email, and I want to make sure you're going to be okay. But just think of it as constantly changing. Life is constantly changing, and, just try a whole bunch of different things for you. And if you can find something that gives you a few moments of joy or a few minutes of happiness or a giggle, watch stand-up comedians, something, get your endorphins going, anything that you find gives you feeling of a little bit of happiness, try to grow upon that and learn what you like. It's like I said, it's again from a 3-line email. It sounds like you're tapped out. Friends and family may not bring you joy. It's an inside job a lot of times. So that's why it's going to be on you. But this is also the age-old question. The last line of your email, they don't bring me joy. It's such a, how do I find that? How do I find some type of meaning in my life? That is like, if you figure that out, let us know, please. It's a constant battle. It's a constant battle. I've said it once, I'll say it again. The first sentence of my favorite book says, life is hard. And ends with a period. And that's it. You know? So it's hard. And these are deep things that you're saying, and they're scary. So there's only so much I can possibly say about that. But I feel like I said anything that I could think of. Just only you can answer what brings you joy, what would give you meaning in life. I've tried to share a couple things that, you know, have worked for me or that I've experienced or whatever. And even I'll never, ever forget that experience of somebody telling me to write down what I enjoy doing. And it unexpectedly being the hardest list I've ever written in my life. So that's all I got on that one. I do apologize. But again, please listen to what I've stressed here. If you feel you need to go talk to a professional, seek a professional, please do so. That is why I have warnings and disclaimers all over these videos, okay? So that is going to do it for today's episode, guys. Episode 2 of Dear Theonie. And some of you will like it, some of you won't, but it is what it is, and I'm okay with it. So as long as you guys keep emailing, I will keep answering. And until the next video, stay blessed, my friends. Please be well, take care of yourselves, and I love each and every one of you.